Hey everyone, it's August 23rd, and that means that if today is your birthday, you share with serial killer Rodney Alcala, known as the dating game killer, who murdered at least 5, but perhaps as many as 100 victims in the 1970s. And that is him right up there. Born in Texas in 1943, Alcala's family moved to Mexico when he was 8 so his grandmother could spend her final years in her birth country. They then moved to Southern California 3 years later, spending his adolescence in East Los Angeles and attending Montebello High School, which is about 2 miles from my apartment. He served in the Army in the early 1960s but was discharged after a diagnosis of an antisocial personality disorder by a psychiatrist in 1964. Known as a highly intelligent person, he graduated from UCLA after his discharge. His first known crime was in 1968 when he lured an 8-year-old girl to his apartment in Los Angeles. A neighbor saw her enter and called the police. When they arrived, they found that she was still alive but had been sexually abused and beaten with a steel bar, and Alcala had already fled the scene. He went to New York and enrolled at NYU under an assumed name to study film under Roman Polanski. As they say, birds of a feather flock together. While in New York, he worked as a summer camp counselor, but was recognized from an FBI wanted poster in 1971 and apprehended for abducting the girl 3 years earlier. Her family had relocated to Mexico, however, so without their key witness, prosecutors took a plea bargain that led to Alcala serving just 34 months in prison. Less than 2 months after his release, he was picked up for giving a 13-year-old girl marijuana, which led to him being locked up for 2 more years. Upon his release in 1977, he was hired as a typesetter at the LA Times during their coverage of the Hillside Strangler murders. He also began convincing young women that he was an aspiring photographer, getting them to allow him to take photos of them for his portfolio. In 1978, Alcala appeared on The Dating Game, winning a date as Bachelor Number 1, and you can watch that on YouTube. By the time of his appearance, it is now known that he had killed at least 2 women. In 1979, the body of a 12-year-old girl was found in the hills of Los Angeles, and police later found her belongings in a storage locker belonging to Alcala. He was convicted of this murder and sentenced to death in 1980, but legal appeals led to it being overturned until he was convicted again in 1986. This was again overturned on appeal in 2001, but in 2003, DNA evidence was applied to old cold cases, and authorities learned just how evil Alcala was. He was definitively tied to 5 murders and was convicted of those crimes in 2010 while representing himself in court. It is believed that he is responsible for as many as 100 unsolved murders in the late 70s, with some in New York and multiple other states, in addition to the ones in California. Alcala died in 2021 while awaiting his fate on death row. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Rodney Alcala, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.